Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here to this webinar. My name is Jose Guillen. I'm the Technical Service Manager for CAME Americas. Today, we're going to bring a presentation related to our video entry systems. As you all know, CAME, we have not only we sell gate operators, as you all know, like sliding or swing gate operators. We also sell turnstiles. We sell bollards. We sell gate arms, which you already know from our product family. But also we have a video entry systems as well. So that the idea is to show you what we have, what we can offer, and how can we help you to be able to help your customer needs and using our solutions. So without any further ado, let's gonna start talking about our systems, right? We're gonna talk about our three families, which are the X1, which is, I would call it the analog family, XIP, which is a mixture between what I call analog and digital, or IP and analog. And then we have a full IP system, which is our IP 360 system. Moving forward, we're gonna start with our quick introduction of who we are, who is CAME. As you all know, CAME Group, we are a worldwide company, which, we offer a solution for what we call the three sectors, right? Which are the residential area. We also have the business solution and urban solutions. I believe the product line that we have allow us to not only be present in the residential, whether it's single or multifamily, but also for business solution. One application of that would be, as an example, it would be our Intercom systems, which could be installed on a building where you have different offices, and we also have those cases. And we also have our turnstiles, which you can use to have access control to these, business center, business buildings, and so forth. In our urban solution, we can also have, we have products just such as our parking systems. We have ballers, or perhaps our gate arms, which can also be used as an accessory for access control system to, limit access to certain delicate areas, and we don't want everybody to access to these places. Just a little bit of our structure, who we are. As you all know, CAME is the main corporation, the headquarters, the big picture of us, and then based on that, CAME has been growing little by little, acquiring different companies, and one of our branches or a product line is our CAME BPT, which is our branch who is in charge of designing not only video intercom system but also temperature control systems. We have our CAME Urbaco, which is our company or branch who is in charge of designing perimeter security, such as bollards. We have bollards such as fixed bollards. We have removable bollards, and we have high security bollards. Just to give you an idea what we do. In our high security bollards, they're capable of stopping a 7.5 ton vehicle traveling at 80 kilometers per hour. Just to give you an idea how secure our bollards are. Our CAME Parquet is a branch specialized on designing parking systems, whether it's on street or off street parking solutions. CAME Go is our branch who is also specialized for sectional doors, and also not only for industrial but also for home applications, such as garage doors especially. And CAME OSAC recently acquired. CAME OSAC is a company that came to our portfolio to expand our product available on the turnstiles, road blockers, and borders as well to be able to offer this solution, but especially on the turnstile side of the business. With that being said, we are CAME Americas. We are located north of Miami Airport, about 25 minutes north, I will say, from Miami Airport. From here, we take care of basically all of the Americas. We have North America, Central America, and South, including the Caribbean, with the exception of Mexico, Brazil, where we have a fully functioning business subsidiaries where they take care of those countries. But from here, from Miami, we take care of pretty much all the Americas, with the exception on those countries. Right here, we have a warehouse. It's about 11,000 square foot. Where we have from here, we do anything related to service, sales, marketing, and any other needs that you might have. And also we have a pretty good area for stocking not only new products but also uh, spare parts for your products. As I mentioned before, we have our different branches allow us to be in different areas of application. For example, in industrial and for residential applications, for industrial we have the parking system, automatic doors, turnstile for access control. We have lighting system that control lighting. We have integration with camera. We have intercom system, gate arms, so anything related to this area, to security to this area, we have it. And also for in case of your home application, perhaps you might want to have a garage door opener for your garage, or perhaps a sliding gate for your front house. In case if you don't have a garage but you have a sliding or swing gate, we have the solution. We have an intercom system like we're going to show right now, which help you to, the person will be in the front of your house, press the intercom system, and you will be able to answer the call either from your cell phone or a physical unit just like this one over here. So with that being said, that's our pretty much our we could be present, or we have the capacity of being present in different, as you can see, in different areas of your, not only of your business but also in home, whether it's single or multi-family applications. Can be BPT. As I mentioned before, this is a company or it's a branch specialized in the design of intercom systems. Our intercom systems, as I mentioned, they are divided in three different technologies, but I will mention that in a few minutes. So before we move straight into our intercom system presentation, I always like to mention how an intercom system is, the composition of it, right? So we always are going to find an entry panel, an entry panel. I call it entry panel, which is the panel or the device that is going to be installed outside the building or outside the house, which is where the person's going to be approaching this unit, press the button, and then we make a call. So in order to make a call and go to a receiver, it has to go through a power supply and control units. So this unit, so let's say, for example, on the unit outside the building, you press the button, and then you have the power supply and control units. They're gonna process that request and send it to the receiver. The receiver is either inside the apartment or the house, or perhaps could be your cell phone. So those are the three main components that we always are going to find on a intercom system. As I mentioned before, we have three different families or three different technologies. We have the analog, which is the X1. We call it X1 because it's a pair of cable, one pair of cable where it uses the bus protocol. Through that pair of cable, we send power to the receivers. We send audio, or if you have a video entry system, we're going to send power audio and video as well. Then with the other family will be the internet protocol, or the XIP. The XIP is nothing but the I like to call it the older, the newer, the upgraded system of the X1, because it's a mixture between the X1 system and the IP protocol that allow us, because the X1 system has limitations. The XIP system allows us to go beyond the limitations that we get from the two-wire system. And then last but not least, we have the IP, the full IP system, which is based on the TCP IP protocol, to have the communication, to carry the communication between the different devices that are present in the system. Now let's talk really quick about the X1 system, which is based on the two wires, right? We're going to mention some of the main features, and then I will mention to you the different applications, the limitations, and so forth. Among the features that we have for this, we have the system composition, which is, we have all these features. Rather, secrecy of speech. In other words, when somebody calls you from the front of the building, nobody else. If somebody calls your apartment, the neighbor won't be able to hear any extra conversation. Your conversation will be completely and entirely private. Doorbell function means that if you have the indoor unit in your apartment, not only you can have this unit not only to ring with a certain ring to tell you that you're getting a phone call or you're getting a call from the outside of the building, but also you can have a different ring for your front door ring. So if somebody ring your bells in front of the apartment, in front of your house, in that case rather, so you're gonna hear that second ring or a different tone. Call from landing stairs. Perhaps you can have in a main building, you have a main entrance for visitors, right? or residence. But you can have a service entrance, which will be, I don't know, maybe it would be the mailman. It could be the delivery companies, like some, I don't know, UPS, FedEx, and so forth, or the person who delivers any service. So you can have a different entrance, and that entrance could be only calling one or two different, only one or two different receivers, which would be, I don't know, the concierge station, or perhaps the administration office. That's the meaning of the call from stair landing. Then we have the door lock release from receiver. So if somebody calls your apartment, you're going to be able to unlock that door from your receiver. Just by pressing a button, you will grant entrance to that person from your apartment. Door lock release from entry panel. Just like the one from your apartment, you can actually, if you have a, let's say, for example, you have a keypad installed on your entry unit, on your front, the unit that is installed outside the house, you can assign key code or PIN code to any, or a PIN to any resident or anybody, and that person, by entering the PIN, they will be able to release the door and have access to the building. You could integrate up to 8 CCTV cameras, but they have to be an analog with this family, right? With the X1 family. So we can integrate up to, or add up to 8 external cameras. If you are very, have a good relationship with your neighbor, you can have a multi-apartments intercom facility. So if you're a really good friend with your neighbor from the apartment one from the second floor, so you can have press a button and talk to your neighbor through the intercom system, and nobody else is going to listen to the conversation. But also you can have a single-use intercom facility. In other words, inside your apartment, you can have more than one receiver. You can have 2, 3, 4 receivers, and perhaps you can use the intercom feature, so just to have call from your main room, call your daughter in her Ellis, and just get up and eat or whatever. I mean, that would be one application, right? So in that way, so that would be basically inside the apartment. The difference is different apartments, same apartment, different rooms. That's just basic the main reason, the main difference between these two features right here. An auxiliary button, we can have auxiliary buttons, just auxiliary relays, programmed to perform different functions. For example, if we can have, I don't know, if you could have an auxiliary button to press to every time you have the program, every time that you press the auxiliary button, it could open a second door, a second pedestrian door, on a garage door, or you can have turn on a light, or perhaps call the concierge. So different, you can add different functions to this auxiliary button that you see over here. Now going back to the applications and more of the composition of the system itself. So we're going to show you 2 different applications, a single home application, and we have a riser application. But just to talk about the system, the limitations I mentioned before. The system is based on a 2-wire non-polarized wires, and it's called the protocol bus. So through a pair of cables, you're going to be able to send data, you're going to send power, and if you have video, data meaning voice and video, or voice only, and you also can send, you will be able to send power. So this system is limited to 108 calls, so 100 only to 108 apartments or different units. You can have up to a maximum of 3 different entry panels. So on this building, for example, the riser application, you can have 1, 2, and perhaps a third entry, but it's limited to 3 entries. As I mentioned, you can add up to 8 CCTV cameras, but they have to be analog. We will have to add an extra interface to the system and be able to connect these cameras to that to the intercom system. Access control integration, we can integrate with any access control system. It could be either self-learning. You can program the system by a combination of buttons, or if you have a very large system like the one that we have over here, you could have a PC program, basically build the tree for your system, and then you're sending through a program that we offer, a programming software that we offer. You can actually send the programming software. Once you build it, you send it to the configuration, and off you go. We can see here a single home application. We have one entry panel. This entry panel has its power supply, which is right here. And because this is a video entry system, we need a splitter right here. So because it's video, we have to treat the signal differently. So we have this pair of cable to go to this video distributor, and that will go to room number 1 and room number 2. Or perhaps it could be a unit for 2 tenants, right? So you can have 2 buttons here, and one button will call tenant 1, and the other button will call tenant number 2. That's in case of the single home application. And then if we go next to the right side application, on a building application, we have one here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 apartments, or 8 different apartments, 8 different houses, however you want to call it. So we have 2 different access points. Here you see your entry units, right, with the MAC lock. Right here we have our power supplies needed to power up the system. Because we have video units, we're gonna need a video distributor device. Right here, this meter unit will be a concierge, or will be the reception. So you can have a reception. Somebody can press the button here and call the reception, and the reception will grant you access to the premises. Or perhaps you could call directly to the apartment in case you know the person you're calling. So you can have those options. If the person gets, let's say, for example, like, come here to the entry panel, press the button, call the reception, or concierge. The concierge will allow me to enter the premises. So right here, you can talk to to the person and the receptionist, and then you can tell, listen, I want to go to this apartment right here, the apartment, I don't know, 8, just to give you a number. So the receptionist from this meter unit, they can actually pick up the phone, call the apartment 8, announce you, and grant you access to the person you're visiting. So right here we have the concierge again. We have this meter unit will be the unit that is for the concierge application, and then we have different video entry units for this right side application. Again, it's limited up to 108 calls, meaning 108 apartments, just like this. We have a 3 entry panels. We could have 1, 2, and a third entry panel. We could add CCTV cameras around the building, and you will be able to access those from your video entry unit. And we can integrate with any access control system, and the programming is done either through a combination of buttons, which is recommended to this type of configuration for the single home, or if we're looking at a bigger system, we will have to go with PC programming because it's so much easier. In regards to the devices that we have for the X1 family, we have the entry panels, we have the Tangram, we have the Lithos. This panel over here, even though it looks like they have no front panel, that's the idea. This panel, you can custom make your front panel device, your front panel, and you can actually integrate it with it. And then we have our NTM family, which is a new family that we have, and it's a modular family, and it's also capable of working with the X1 technology. In regards of the porter or the concierge or the reception, we have the Mito unit, which is the one that does this function. And then in regards of the receivers, we have the Opale, we have the Perla, which is the most common tool over here, and we have the Futura as well. So these are different apartment units, or we call it receivers, the units that goes inside the apartment. So with that being said, I didn't mention it, but let's leave the questions to the end of the webinar, and that way, any question that you might have, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. All right, let's keep going. We're going to look at the X1 or the XIP family, right? Just mentioning mentioning a few features of the system. Again, it has access control functions. We can actually add also CCTV functions as well. The porter switchboard functions is more complicated, and I'll show you in a second why, because we're going to have more apartment, more units. So instead of being like a telephone looking device, or the one that we had before, it's actually a software that has to be installed on a computer. So we have a remote programming. We can actually team view on one of the units and program it remotely. Bidirectional communication is basically, of course, you can carry a bidirectional communication between you and the person who's visiting. Porter software, I just mentioned that. Our either concierge, porter, or reception application is done through a software. The system is expandable, not like the one that we had before, not like the X1, which is limited to 108 units. Our system is virtually unlimited, but we haven't reached the project. I've been told that we had a project in one of our branches. They had a project where they had about 2,500 apartments, but it was a huge project, huge apartment complex. So they were able to reach up to 2,500 units in this project. Call routing, we can actually route the calls whether to a cell phone or a landline, with appropriate devices. And of course, we can do unconditional call forwarding. If you can program the device to every time that somebody press the button, you can call it can call to a different device besides your physical receiver. Let's take a look at this image over here. This is more or less a a good example of an application for the XIP system. As you can see over here, we have more than one building. More likely, we're going to have more than 100 apartment units. We're going to use different cabling because the cabling is going to be slightly different. We're going to have a combination of, the pair of cable. We're going to have also multi-pair cables, and also we're going to be using Cat5 cable. That's why it's called XIP, because we're using the IP protocol for this. Just to give you an example, let's say, as I mentioned to you, we have here, this will represent the XIP porter, will represent our concierge stations or our reception station for each one of these apartment buildings. We have a server that will basically, a license server. This license servers will route the calls from each one of the concierge stations to each apartment. That's basically, it's in charge of routing these calls. So as you can see over here, we have our power supply, and we have the entry unit right here. In this case, we have a digital entry unit. Each apartment has its own entry unit. As you can see, the yellow cable means that it's a cable that has 4 pairs, because we're going to need to provide power, data, voice, and data, power, voice, and audio. So we have 4 pairs from the entry panel to the power supply. And then the power supply, the data goes via the pair of cables, right? So we have to convert that information from the bus protocol to the IP protocol. So this device over here, this ATI XIP makes that conversion. It makes possible to take that the bus protocol information, pack it up into an IP protocol, and be able to share that information with all the units all around here. So going again, so we have our entry panel, we have our power supply, then we have our gateway, or the device that converts from bus to IP protocol, and then we have this blue cable right here. It represents our pair of cable that will go to our analog units. As you can see right here, we have the different entry devices. We have the video distributor, because we're looking at a video entry system, and then this black cable will be our Cat5, which connects our different concierge stations to make possible this configuration. Okay, just one more: bus and LAN connection to unlimited users. Theoretically, so up to unlimited. And this system is also programmable by whether it's a combination of button or we need to use a programming software. Here we have we can actually connect remotely to the system. We can use smartphones. We can actually use smartphones as a video receiver. Instead of using a physical unit receiver, we can use our smartphone. We can integrate with access control system, and possibility to use existing LAN networks. Another example right here, we have here a bigger apartment complex, right? So in this apartment complex, we have high risers and we have low risers. We have a main entry unit, which main entry unit, we can have a concierge station as a reception, right? So for this reception, he will be able to call to each one of these apartments over here. And each apartment over here will have, as you can see, we have this riser over here has a digital. This other riser has a digital with, sharing a power supply and perhaps a gateway. And then we have here the device that will allow us to implement a CCTV system that you will be able to access through your Intercom system, right? When we have the smaller apartments, they have a tangram unit with its power supply and the gateway device, and just keep going at it. So we have more the small risers right here with the tangram unit, and then we have the bigger buildings with their digital entry panels. Just to give you a picture, more or less, how the application or an implementation of this type of solution of Intercom system. In regards of the different devices that compose the system, we have the entry panels, we have the digital, which is a most common one for the project that I showed you before. This panel right here has an IK protection rate of IK, I believe it's a 0. I'm going to say that's 0.8, which is pretty good. It can take a beating from vandal resistant features. Then we have the tangram, which is a polycarbonate material, which is pretty good, in regards of weather resistant. But of course, so you can see it's plastic, but it's not. It will take a hit. However, it's going to break eventually. And then we have the other type, which is we still with the DMBC, this device right here, and then we have the MTM. which is our modular system that is, it's also used in these XIP applications. From the concierge, porter, or receptionist, however you want to call it, we have the computer right here, which shows the XIP porter license. You can have more than one porter. As you go on the pages before, we can have not only one, but we can have multiple concierge stations. We just need to add more licenses to that server that we saw before. Then we have the other licenses, which is this license is for the, if you wish to use, instead of using receivers, you want to use your cell phone as a receiver, you will have to acquire some of these licenses over here. The GST is basically it's a license that would allow us to integrate with third-party devices to do the forward of the calls. As I mentioned before, you can actually have the system call it to an external, either to your cell phone or a landline. So we will need to acquire not only the physical devices, but also we will need a license to be able to do that. The PCS porter is basically the license for the extra concierge stations, and the soft receiver is basically if you want to use your computer as a receiver as well, you can basically acquire a license, install the software on your computer, and your computer will be a soft receiver as well. And in regards of the receivers, right here we have the Futura, Perla, Opale, and the different modules that we can offer to your project. So it's just a matter of your customer choosing which entry panel they want to have, whether or not they want to use the porter or the concierge station, if they want to use the license for the mobile app, and then we can offer which model of receiver they wish to use. As you can see, we have different options for your customers. Now, we're going to be looking into our full IP solution, which is the IP360. I really like this one because we have no, we have no, give us the second one, sorry. We have no limits of how many units we can have. It has a NAT connection. It's a system cloud-based. It could be local, but also it's cloud-based. Our entry units and entry panels and the receivers, they could either power via PoE or with a local power supply, and they can make calls to mobile devices. In other words, let's give this example right here, where we have, perhaps we can say it's a 4 apartments complex, right? So we have two different entry panels. The two different entry panels will be the main entry and the back entry, just per se. This go to a PoE switch, which they will be getting already, they're sending power, but also they're getting data from the PoE switch. So you have 4 Futura units, which could be either one different apartment, or it could be just the same apartment as well. And then from here, you can, as long as you provide internet to these devices right here, to these entry panels, you can also have your cell phone with our cloud solution. Use your cell phone as a entry device, as a receiver as well. On a building application, you can see over here, of course, looking at the features, we have unlimited distance because we're going to be using the TCP/IP protocol. So you can have fiber optics, microwave, so you can go from one state to another one. Like our main office, they have locations in different cities, and then they have the intercom system connected all together. So if one branch is called and somebody goes to the branch that is closed and they press the button, the other branch will answer and provide the message. Hey, listen, there's nobody there, but help the customer out if it's needed. No, unlimited users. We have an advanced access control system. The concierge application is basically the same concierge application that we saw in the previous family, the XIP. We can integrate with ZIP protocol. We use the ZIP protocol, so we can integrate with ZIP phones if needed. Also, we can provide the feature of diverting or forwarding calls, whether it's to a GSM for an analog phone, and we can integrate with IP phones. Just to talk about the solution that we have over here, we could have basically our concierge station right here with SIP porter, the little computer that we see here, and then after that you can have 2 entry panels. You have on the left hand side, you see the DVC IPME, which could be one service entrance just per se. You could integrate an IP camera. You will be able to see from your entry panels, from the different entry panels, you will be able to see the image that the IP camera is providing. And then we have here the DVC IP plus the D combo. That will be, I'd like to describe that as a main entry, but you have a keyboard. You have a keypad, right? A keypad has a little screen and of course a keypad where you can actually dial, scroll up and down to look for your tenant, or in that case, if you have if you know the number already for the person, you just basically press the right combination, and then you call directly the apartment. You could call this guy here with the soft receiver on the computer, or perhaps you can call the guy from the Futura IP, or you can call the guy from the terminal Crestron, which, by the way, Crestron being a third party, we can integrate with we have an integration, a full integration with the Crestron receivers. So this could be used with our platform. So you can call the guy from the soft receiver, the Crestron guy. You can call the SIP, the SIP phone right here, or perhaps the Futura, any of these units. And right here, you have two different units. So we have the Mr. in this apartment, right, where you have the Futura. Then you have the ETI miniser, which is a device that will allow you to use more than 4 licenses. Let's say, for example, if you have 4 receivers, 4 Futuras, just to give an example, you have 4 Futuras inside this apartment, and then you need, or office per se, you have 4 Futura units inside this office or apartment or unit, and then you also need to add more than 4. We use this device to grant you to have access to more than 4 licenses. I don't know, you can have I don't know, 4 physical unit plus 5 cell phones. So the system, what's going to happen is the system is going to ring on all the devices. However, it will provide video only in 4 devices. So let's say, for example, if somebody called this office over here, the 4 Futura units will ring at the same, everything is going to ring at the same time, cell phones and Futura units. However, they are only, when the call is being made, they only be able to see video on the physical unit, which are the Futura's unit. Now, if you wish to have that differently, you could pick and choose on which units you want to have video and which one not. The other will be this apartment over here. With the right device, we can integrate not only our intercom system with a home automation device. So let's say, for example, you could, from the same app, you could, I don't know, turn on a light, open a window, open a garage door. Any application that we could integrate with our home automation devices. Keep going. At the IP family, we have 3 different entry panels. We have the Tangram IP, which is this one right here. And then we have the MTN, the regular MTN device, which is the one right here. And then we have the MTN VR, which will be our bandwidth system. As you can see, this MTN is modular, so we can add more modules. Like, for example, the VR device has 3 modules. So we have the video camera plus 2 buttons right here. Then we have a set of buttons and a proximity reader for your proximity cards. Here in the Tangram, we have a keypad, right? So we have the Tangram unit plus a keypad. You see, I mentioned to you there was a screen over here, and you can actually easily navigate up and down, scroll up and down to find your tenant. You can make the call from here. And then the regular MTN, this is a 4 module entry panel. This will be your camera, and they have a dedicated button to call your concierge station. And then you have a screen that will allow you to, and the buttons that will allow you to navigate up and down to call that, to look for that tenant. And once you find the tenant, you press this button that will call them. And you also have a keypad in case that you want to provide a password for anybody who can, unlock the door, or perhaps you call you directly pressing the right combination of buttons. And last but not least, we can actually add a proximity reader. So this is our different entry panels. We have a new one, which I'm going to show you briefly. Then we have these are the 3 different receivers that we have. We have the Futura, full IP Futura. We have the Perla Audio. This is a device that is only audio, is full IP, in case that you have a situation where you want to implement an IP, the full audio entry, an audio entry system, but however the customer wants to do it audio, we have the option for you. And then we have the XCS units. We have 2 different modules. We have the 7-inch and we have the 5-inch. Completely touchless, and this is literally how the unit looks like. We have 2 different options. You can record a video message, voice message. You can open the gate from here. Any different application that you have from any indoor receiver. As I mentioned before, we can also use the mobile app. Instead of having any of this unit, you could have a mobile, your cell phone, perhaps cell phone, a tablet, being used as a receiver. And then last but not least, we have the sub receivers. So like you could use basically your computer as a receiver. Yeah, maybe another tablet if you wish to do so, or one of the seat phones as I mentioned before. This is application for the mobile app. I'm going to show you application a bit better. This one, we're not offering this one anymore. We have an updated version. We just received an updated version. I will show you briefly. I just want to mention here the different integrations that we currently have. We have integration with Crestron, which is a third party that we can actually, this type of devices are normally used for really high-end projects. So we can integrate with Crestron. We can integrate with IP phones, as I mentioned before. Also, soft licenses, like I mentioned, the license for the soft receiver is basically you could use your computer as an internal receiver. Your gateway, this device here will allow you to transfer the call. Let's say, for example, somebody's calling in your apartment, and you're not answering on your physical device, on your Futura, for example, and then the call gets diverted to your app on your phone. If you don't answer through the app, and then if you have this device enabled, this device will forward the call to your cell phone or perhaps your landline phone. And we can integrate with, again, with voice over IP system with the right configuration of software. Um, the NTM family, I mentioned to you the NTM family was a new family for us, right? And the NTM family is basically a modular entry panel. So you see the model with one module right here. And this is an audio version. There's no camera here and just one button. And you could have actually up to 2 buttons right here. And then you have the model for 2 modules. You have right here, you have the camera module, and then you have the button module. This could represent different apartments. And then you have the model with 3 modules. You have module 1, which is a camera with 1 button. Then you have a second module with 4 extra buttons, and then you could have the proximity reader right here. And then last but not least, the model with 4 modules, which you have here a screen that will show the apartment complex name. Then you have your camera right here to the video camera, and then you have a button dedicated to call the concierge station. Then you have the screen that will show, you can navigate back and forth, just looking for the tenant that you wish to call. And then you have the keypad right here, which will will allow you to either enter the password to access the premises or just to call an apartment directly. And then, okay, the MTN family is compatible with all these families that we have over here. Now you'll be looking at this and you say, well, wait, we saw the X1, XIP, and the IP360. What happened with the GSM? Sadly, here in the Americas, we don't offer the GSM solution because our colleagues in Europe, they still use the 2G bandwidth. And here in this side of the world, we don't use the bandwidth anymore. We don't have anybody. If the G2 platform, if we use someone else, it's very it's very seldom that we find that around here. So that's why we don't offer the GSM. However, our R&D department, we finally, brought it to their attention, and they're working on getting a solution GSM that will call, anything from 4G and higher. And basically, the solution is just based on the MTN panel. Imagine an MTN panel, just call it directly to your cell phone or your landline. It's basically they get a little SIM card with the SIM card for the cell phone, and then you activate the device, and voila, off you go. And that will make only a phone call. You won't get a call through an app. And serverless residential, I like to talk about this one because it's a solution that you can actually locally implement. Tell you what, here, if you purchase one of the MTN full IP devices, they are built in, they have access. I mean, you can use up to 4 licenses for cell phones. They include 4 licenses. So let's say, for example, you have a homeowner who wish to have an intercom system, right? And they want to implement that type of solution for and have a smartphone as a receiver. So you can sell them this device. You sell this device to them, and then this device includes 4 licenses. Your homeowner or that homeowner could configure 4 cell phones. And every time that somebody, let's say, for example, a visitor comes here, presses that button, right? So you have to provide internet and power to this device. So through this router, you could either, the router will be not only to provide the Wi-Fi to your tablet if you have a tablet at home, but also direct your call to our Kami Cloud solution. Our Kami Cloud solution will look for your cell phone or those cell phones that are enabled on that application. And then this person will receive a call, whatever he is, whether he's, whatever he's going to be at, whether it's in the country, outside the city, for as long as he has data. If he has data, he will be able to receive that phone call through the app, whatever he is. Again, you can also have a combination of physical unit and tablet or smartphone, or just basically physical unit or just smartphone, which we sell that quite a lot that over here. We have quite a few of these Intercom systems installed, where we only offer, we offer the entry panel, and then we tell the customer, you have the entry panel, but that includes 4 licenses from cell phones, so people can actually receive the video call on their cell phone and just answer from whatever they are, and from the same app you can connect to let's say for a sliding gate, for example, and then for the same app you can actually press a button and send an opening command, again from whatever you are. This is a serverless application for a building. You can have, let's say for example, we have a 2-apartment building, 4 apartment, whatever apartments, how many apartments you wish to have, and then you can have them made two entries, right, from inside entry per se, and you can have 1 unit, apartment 1. You have a Futura unit, and this apartment they wish to have more than 4 licenses. They want to have more than 4 devices. I don't know. It could be an office or something like that. So they can have more than 4 licenses per apartment. So they have to use this unit over here. Or this guy over here is very conservative. He just want to have 1 unit. He only have the Futura IP plus the tablet, so he can have both options. And the wiring for this project will be only Cat5 going to each apartment, and perhaps the power could be provided via PoE. So it could be a simple solution just to wire the solution in this building. Again, two main entries, or 1 main entry and then side entry, and then you have apartment 1, apartment 2, and it could be 4, 5, 6, 10, X amount of numbers, and each button could be dedicated to call each one of these apartments. Then we have we're going to be looking at an urban area. We're going to be looking at the XIP solution. I'm going to be implementing it with MTM entry panels. Let's say, for example, bear with me because this sample has two screens, right? So let's start from the beginning. Right here, we have the main entry. So we have an MTM panel with 4 modules, where we have our video camera, the screen that you're going to navigate up and down, and your proximity reader for those residents who have the proximity card to access the premises. So this device goes to our translator. I call it translator gateway, or the device that converts from bus protocol to XIP to be able to communicate with different devices. So we have right here, we have another power supply for this entry panel. This entry panel here has its own power supply. So this device will need a power supply plus the gateway, and then from here you can call all these apartments, or you can actually call this apartment over here. This person will let you in, and then you come here to this apartment right here, or to this building over here, and then you call that person directly and let them know, hey, listen, I'm down here, please open the door for me. And then you go to building number 2. Actually, we have building number 2 or building number 3. So from this unit right here, you could call either building 1, building 2, or building 3, right? Or you could also have a concierge station. So if you don't know the apartment complex you're looking for, you can either navigate through here, or from here call the concierge and tell the concierge, hey, let me in because I'm bringing different packages for different apartments. So in that way, this concierge will let you in. Now, the concierge also, you can call from here directly to building 1, building 2, or building 3, but also from the concierge station, the PC porter, you can call from here. You can call from here, this building or this building. Once you call, let's say for example, you announce yourself here in the porter station and tell them, listen, I'm going to building number 3, and I'm visiting the guy from Futura X1. So then he will call the guy and let him, listen, you have Mr. John Smith out here. Yeah, let him in. So this guy will come into the premises, walk up to building number 3, go to the Tangram unit, press the button, and tell Mr. John Smith, hey, Mr. John, I'm down here, I'm downstairs. And then Mr. John from his unit will press the button, release the front door, and you can access and visit your friend, or Mr. John, if that's the application. I mean, it's just an example to illustrate how the system more or less works. And right here, we're going to see the different type of wiring used. So we could have, remember, And I forgot to mention to you guys, we have also the ability to add a smartphone. So perhaps, I don't know, let's pick one. Let's say Mr. John Smith. He also has the capability to, or he wanted a cell phone per se. So in this case, you can, it will ring on his apartment, and if he doesn't answer, the calls get diverted to his cell phone, and then Mr. John Smith from his cell phone can either can answer the porter, tell, listen, Mr. Receptionist, let the guy in, so that's not a problem. So that's basically the application that I just wanted to show you. And then for the new products, we have our new entry panel, and this XBP entry panel is only for the IP family, and it's called the XBP. This system is brand new, coming out to the market right now. And advantages is, again, it's full IP, PoE powering, full HD camera right here, a video camera, full HD. And in regards of the navigation menu, it gives you the sensation that you are actually using a smartphone. It looks like just like a smartphone. The screen is touchless. It has a guiding system. If you can program that, you can integrate a map. If you have a multi-building complex, you can actually integrate a map and an image, and then when you call in the tenant, the system can guide you and can provide you like a quick map where to go and how to get to that apartment. You can add pictures of the tenants when you navigate through the menu. You can actually add pictures of the different tenants that you have right there. Also, there's an area down here on the device that says Kame below. You can actually add. You can integrate or add any type of proximity reader, so you can easily integrate with third parties or our own access control device. The AGT is an entry panel, or something. Sorry, it's a receiver for the X1 family. We redesigned the Agatha system. We redesigned it, and we came up with a new concept which is the AGT, and it's a solution not only for video and audio, but also for only audio as well. And then just a few references that we have here in the US. We could use more of that, but we don't want to, bore you mentioning all these different references that we have. Here in Miami, as I mentioned before, but we're selling a lot of the application for the single home families. I was just showing you this. Let me just navigate through this presentation right here, to this one right here. We are selling a lot of this solution because it's being used a lot in single home families, especially right now with with a tendency to buy online. Let's say, for example, the Amazon guy comes to your house and you're not there. So basically, the Amazon guy will press that button and you will receive that call wherever you are. If you're at work, you can receive that call, and Mr. Amazon is going to be there to deliver the package that you're looking forward to receive. And from the easy access to your cell phone, you can press that button, open that gate, and Mr. Amazon will come inside the property, drop off the package, leave, and your package will be inside your place, having no risk to being stolen or anything like that. So that's one of the solutions that we are offering, or we're selling quite a lot here in our neck of the woods. Now, I spoke about references, gave you a few examples.